Welcome to the Darkstream. Voxday, voxday.blogspot.com, and unauthorized.tv. Thanks for tuning in. We have a lot to talk about tonight. So, a lot of you may recall, I want to make sure that the audio is working here. I think it is. A lot of you recall that I was wondering about how far was too far. And interesting. Okay. Intro music didn't go through. That's annoying. All right. Well, in any event, what I was thinking about was, I found one of the tech giants was actually extremely susceptible to some of the stuff that we know how to do. And the problem was that they never did anything. They haven't done anything to me. They haven't done anything to my people. So we didn't have any justification for taking action. I think it's always very important to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and not to abuse whatever power or whatever leverage or whatever advantage you have. So after consulting with Space Bunny, after talking to Owen, I decided that taking action in the way that I had conceived was going to be a abuse, that it would not be right. But one of the things I said is, we shouldn't go looking for trouble. Trouble will find us because conflict is in the air we breathe. Conflict is the water in which we swim. Well, guess what? It just came and found us. Now, a lot of you have emailed me to indicate your interest in joining the Castelia Deluxe book club. We're very interested in reviving the old Franklin library, bringing back the classics, publishing great books in beautiful editions, creating heirloom editions. And this all came about because of the upcoming crowdfunding campaign for the junior classics, right? So anyhow, we've been talking to this company that does leather binding, that does the gold folio stamping and all that sort of stuff, right? There's well over 150 people that have already said that they're going to subscribe to this. And so then, and I'm waiting for the final quote, the final detailed quote on, in fact, I needed to get a improved quote because the quantities were such that we needed to up them, right? So I'm expecting to get it today. They've told me I'm going to get it today. And then I get this email. Unfortunately, I have some bad news. Owen recognizes this kind of stuff. During the due diligence on this opportunity, notice it's an opportunity. It's not just an order. It's an opportunity. Some things in our research has resulted in our choosing not to move forward on this project. Unfortunately, we are unable to participate. Now keep in mind, they're talking about a sizable order. This is classic corporate cancer. Yep, exactly. We've decided to thought police you. And the amazing thing is, if you look at the books that this company publishes, some of them absolutely fall into the hate speech and predecessor to hate speech property, right? So I ask you, what should we do? Should we just cancel the whole project? Should we go after it? What do you guys think? Legionnaire Bear says he's ready for battle. John Yossarian says exterminate us. Feeling Lucky Duck wants skulls. Scalps. Right. So, anyhow, yeah, exactly. We finished your order, but we found some hate tweets, and we went and burned everything. The sounds of men beating their shields with swords intensifies. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a multiple pronged approach. And so what we're going to do, and I am going to personally guarantee that everybody who subscribes is either going to get to get their leather-bound books, or we will refund them in full. So there isn't going to be any risk to anybody. We're also going to go at it probably in three different prongs. Some of this is going to, if some of this is not going to cost anything. VFM. Some of you may remember the shall we say, communications operation a few years ago. So we'll be in touch. This is not something that came down from the absolute top. And so we have some, it's possible that simply making a polite case for ourselves will be sufficient. The books will be printed on acid-free archival paper. It's actually not just acid-free paper, but paper that meets the archival standard. Now, two things that would be helpful. Tamburn Binary is not an option. We're going to be working with them, but they can't do 250 books at a time. He's doing individual hand-tooled stuff. That's not. The problem is there's not that many options, and so what I'd like to. There's two things that I'd like to know. First of all, get in touch with me if you are if you're licensed to practice law in Tennessee, or if you're interested in being if you're a minority, we basically need either a woman or a minority in Tennessee who is interested in acting as a middleman. So there's multiple options. There's also, as you can imagine, various other aspects that we can take. But remember, the net goal is to convince these people that the correct thing to do is to simply do their job, take an order, provide the product, and get paid. That's what companies are supposed to do. So we're not this is a different situation. We are not attempting to completely disrupt them. All right. So, so what I would encourage you to do is there's a couple things that you can do. Number one, if you have the resources, I would encourage you to email me and tell me that you will sign up for Castalia Deluxe for at least 2 books. That will cost you, in the end, $200. Only do it if you have the resources and you can follow through. Email me, Castalia Deluxe. It's going to be a lot easier and more effective if we can get in there with a large quantity. It's a lot harder for a company to turn down, to turn down an order for 500 books than it is for 20, right? Especially when they know that something is being built around it. See, Jeffrey Morrissey, you completely missed the point. The homosexuals have gone after specific companies when others would have been happy to work with them. That was wrong. People should have the right to decline business, even with us. Those aren't the rules, Jeffrey. Those aren't the rules. Furthermore, guess what? There isn't anywhere else. By their own claim, they are the only company in the United States who does this. Now, obviously, I am going to be looking into other alternatives. Obviously, we're going to do whatever we need to do to get it done. But we don't play by rules that don't exist anymore. Exactly. Bake the fucking cake. Those are the rules. You don't get to decide not to do business with people anymore because you don't like them, because you don't agree with them, because you disapprove of them. Yeah, voxday@gmail.com, yeah. Now the other thing, if you don't have the resources, and again, it's not like this is not something that's going to be like, $200 right away. This is something it would be $50 a month for 4 months. That's the minimum. Obviously, there's a lot of people who just want to do this anyhow. You don't need, if you've already emailed me about Castalia Deluxe, don't email me about this, because you're already on the list. We don't need to double it up. We're not singling out these people. These people have repeatedly told me that they were really excited to work with us. They wanted to work with us. There are people within the company who still want to work with us. So again, you need to give people the excuse to do what is right. If you don't provide the pressure, then you don't give the people who want to do it as right the ammunition to say, look, we really should do this. We have to do this. Yeah, we were going to be printing extras to sell directly. So the key thing is, now that's one thing. The other thing that you can do is get involved with the mailing campaign. I'm getting to that, John. What the rest of you can do is we will arrange for a polite, non-threatening, extremely polite mail and email campaign. And it's going to be, no, I never post specifics about plans. Everybody knows that. I give orders and the VFM implement them mindlessly. Mindless obedience is what we're talking about. I'll bump the gain up a bit since I'm sitting back a bit. Um, no, again, remember, we're not dealing with a situation where these are not SJWs. This is not an SJW organization. I think what we're dealing with is some cuckish virtue signaling. And so if you want to get involved, right now there's 3 ways to get involved. Number 1, if you are in Tennessee and you are a lawyer and you're willing to do some pro bono work, get in touch. Number 2, if you are in Tennessee and you're willing to be a middleman of sorts, and you are either a woman or a, let's say, victim minority, get in touch. We've got a couple different approaches that can utilize those things. Then if you've got the resources and you want to help us put the pressure on financially, sign up for Castalia Deluxe. Be ready to follow it through for 2 books. If you want to opt out after the 2 books, if we get this fixed and you want to opt out after that, great, wonderful, fine. So email, email with Castalia Deluxe in it. And then 4th, then you, if you're ready, if you want to sign up for the mail and email campaign, then you just put mail in the subject. And we'll get started on this. The first 2 books are going to be The Missionaries and Summa Helvetica. That's the plan. And I believe that if we handle this correctly, if we handle this politely, and if we handle this honestly, then there is probably a 2 in 3 chance that we can convince them the fact that they got called out, or how virtuous they are. We don't know. In fact, after talking to one of the lawyers, he said it's very, very clear to him that this is only happening because they are refusing to provide public accommodation to an American Indian. And so, terrible stuff. Reprehensible, really. No, it's okay. I appreciate the enthusiasm. It's just, I literally said, if you're already signed up, don't do it. The funny thing is that it's this very enthusiasm that tends to terrify the people that we run into. It's but again, the goal here is not to burn down the house. The goal here is to convince people just to convince people to do what is the right thing. And again, I believe that there are people within the company who want to do the right thing and who just want to do their job and sell books. The email address is voxday@gmail.com. So to sign up for Castalia Deluxe, just email me and tell me that you want to sign up for it. We'll have it ready when it's ready. But you got, Duralex Sedlex says it's a baffling mindset. This is exactly what Owen has been dealing with for this entire tour. You know, in trying to set up with the tour, Mac can tell you, you know, different venues would say, oh yeah, we're excited to have him. This will be great. Places that Owen had performed before and performed successfully before. But as soon as they look him up on Wikipedia, and this is how, you know, we've talked about how Wikipedia is weaponized against people like us, because this is how it always works. You know, some SJW hears about that. They hear people talking about, oh, this is really exciting. There's this guy and they've got this plan and it's really smart and we're going to be really successful together. And then they go and, you know, the SJW goes and checks out Wikipedia and goes, oh no, he's an American Indian. We don't want to deal with any dirty Redskins. And then they refuse. Then they say, oh, suddenly there's a problem, and suddenly they won't do it. Exactly. It's laundering slander. It's laundering slander. You know, and this is exactly what led to the whole situation with Indiegogo. So we don't fear this kind of stuff in the slightest. Not in the slightest. It's a pain in the ass. It's an unnecessary waste of time. But you know what? It does serve a purpose because it brings us together. It gives us purpose. And it gives the VFM something to do. You know, I mean, I can tell you right now, they are going to, you know, the VFM are like dancing. They're up on their hind legs dancing right now, you know, because they love this kind of stuff. I mean, have you ever noticed that all I wanted to do was read books? Exactly. It's the same old stuff over and over and over and over again. But you know what? Do we get tired of it? No. Are you tired of the winning? I'm not. You know, we will figure out a way to win this one way or another. We will figure out a way to make Castalia Deluxe happen one way or another. I've already talked to people in China. I've already talked to people in the UK. You know, these are not ideal solutions because of the costs involved, because of the fact that, you know, I would rather not be producing the stuff in, you know, prison camps in China or whatever. But we will if that's what it takes. You know, we do whatever we need to do to accomplish the objective. And so, so I'm glad to see how many of you are with me. I know it. I knew it. Because that's what we do. Yeah, no, some of these will be double, but there's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. There's already 21 more Castalia Deluxes and a bunch of males too. So, and that's just in what, 5 minutes? So, no, Legionnaire Bear. They don't want blood, and we don't want to oblige. Okay. For those of you who understand Indian terms, we want to be counting coup. Coup is not violent. represents the objective being completed, but yeah, we apply ourselves politely. Please, please try to remember, this is not a burning down the house scenario. I will let you know if and when something gets to that point and take off the leashes. So, yeah, somebody was talking about the whole NBA situation. I mean, that's a similar situation. Can you imagine how absolutely hilarious it would be if the Chinese just took the NBA commissioner and threw him in jail as a spy? I think I would wet myself laughing. I mean, the idea, the guy is such an amazing liar. He actually said the NBA stands for freedom of expression, except for the fact that they fine people for saying things like no homo. They literally stripped Donald Sterling of his NBA team because he said some things they considered to be racist. Yeah, we're not crying havoc. We're not burning down anything. You know, this here. This is where you get to demonstrate how disciplined we are. We work on discipline because it's very, very useful when it comes time to get more serious, when more aggressive action is required. Seth is right. We're not dealing here with enemies. We're dealing here with people who are afraid. And so, no, just wait on the email stuff. We'll get you all the correct information, and there will be directions. Everything is going to be very, very polite, organized, and coordinated. We've done this sort of thing before. We know that it can be very effective. And, it's just helping people to understand that there is one way that is mutually profitable, and the other way is, unnecessary bother. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not angry at anybody there. Exactly. Cactus, yeah, email me at Gmail. Cactus Eater Bear has the right perspective. I'm excited to work with them. This is going to be a great benefit for all parties involved. Precisely. That's exactly the upbeat, positive, relentlessly optimistic, happy to be talking to you every day for the next 3 weeks sort of thing. And so, exactly. John says they're going to love doing the right thing. We want them to be happy about the outcome. We're looking for a win-win-win situation here. Positive energy across the board. Like I said, I'm a little bit irritated, but I'm not angry. I understand the issue. Yes, it is troubling. And it's hurtful that they would, reject a American Indian like myself. But we just need to convince them to do the right thing. That's all. Because it's not just going to benefit us. It's not just going to benefit the readers. It's going to benefit them too. It's a win-win-win situation. Exactly. So the catchword to describe our attitude here is relentless optimism. Relentless optimism and daily positivity. Know yourself, know your enemy, and more importantly, know who is not your enemy. Patrick Bergen is full of admiration. He says, "You remain so calm in the face of such racist bigotry. Truly an inspiration." So, exactly. Evan says, "There will be bones to rend some other day. Someone else's bones, because we all know that they're going to do the right thing." We've seen people do the right thing before. And everybody won. We had a situation, and I'm not going to name any names. We had a situation where a very large New York publisher was sitting on the rights of an author who is a friend of ours. And so after speaking to the vice president and general counsel, we managed to make the case, the positive, relentlessly optimistic case, that it would be in everybody's best interests if, instead of sitting on this author's rights, because they weren't publishing his books, they weren't selling it, etc., we managed to make the case that it was in everybody's best interest if they were to let them go and give them back to the author. It worked out beautifully. They had one issue. They said, "Well, we've got some back order." I said, "Well, let's buy it. We'll pay you for it." They said, "Oh, well, that would be great." I said, "Fantastic." Everything worked out. They got rid of their excess inventory that they were not even selling. The author got the books, was able to sign them and send them out to his readers, and we got to proceed with the project that we wanted to proceed with. So it's all good. It's all good. No, nobody makes any threats. There's no need for any threats. There's no need for escalating anything. We're just going to make sure that all of the relevant decision makers understand how excited people are to buy their books. And again, relentless optimism. So anyhow, that's what's going on. I really appreciate the enthusiasm. It's sad that in today's day and age, there's still a stigma attached to being a Dark Lord. It really is the last acceptable prejudice. people are just so negative and hostile about Dark Lords. And we really are the ultimate minority. I mean, how many Dark Lords are there, on the average planet? Not very many. But if you look at how exceptional people like Sauron or Aron Deathlord are, their accomplishments, their ability to convince disparate and diverse people to work with them, it's a little disappointing that people are not more positive and appreciative about Dark Lord and Dark Lord Lives Matter. In fact, one of these days it is my goal to write the book, How to Succeed Like a Dark Lord. And it's really making the case for the way in which Dark Lords have historically been underappreciated and even maligned unfairly. So, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that eventually one day. Yeah, but anyhow, let's see what we got here. Yeah, so we're now between the mail and the deluxe emails, we're now up to 52 already. I particularly like the email that says "Fighting Racism with Castalia House." Drew Chabert, go ahead, Drew Chabert. Send in another one just in case. Welcome, I am Lone Frog. Welcome to the Silver Pack. So it was pretty funny when Alex Jones was trying to explain the Supreme Dark Lord thing to him. That was pretty funny. It's always amusing because my kids have actually been known to tell people who ask them what their father does. They're like, "Oh, he's a Dark Lord." Like, what? It's like, what does he do? Well, he Dark Lords. Yeah, Tamburn, you could solve a lot of problems with this if you could just figure out how to do 250 at a time real quick. Welcome, the Norseman Wandered. So anyhow, you guys said you wanted conflict, and look, here it is. So it is kind of funny to me. The reprehensibles kind of remind me of Minnesotans in a way. And what I mean by that is Minnesotans are always so miserable in the summer. It's hot and they're flushed, their faces are flushed, and they're sweaty, and there's mosquitoes and stuff, and they just look miserable walking around. But the thing is, you put them in the middle of a 20 below winter day, and they are so happy. I mean, they complain incessantly about the cold and so forth. I mean, cold enough for you? Wow, it's so cold. Well, it was. You should have seen it in 1983. 1983, it was 40 below. Well, but that was with the wind chill. And then, of course, there's this 10-minute discussion of wind chill and this, that, and the other thing. And it's so funny because, there was a time, I don't remember when it was exactly, when I suddenly realized, they just like it being cold. They like having the conflict. They like the difficulty. And that's why the reprehensibles remind me of them, because if I come on here and say, hey, good news. You know, this book is a bestseller. We managed to resolve this situation. I mean, it was absolutely hilarious when the day that I announced that we had resolved the Indiegogo situation, people were like, okay, good, you know, great. But the minute it's like, hey, we got conflict, everyone's like, yes. It's so funny. I mean, I suppose I kind of understand it because, you know, I tend to get a little fired up myself. You know, having that conflict just gives you that little adrenaline shot that kind of gives you that little bit of, you know, pick me up that maybe you're lacking in your quotidian life. But yeah, it's all good. So I like the enthusiasm. I like the I like the camaraderie, and you know, it is so much better than whining and crying about it. You know, we could have just said, "Oh, gee, well, I guess that's not going to work." But no, that's not what we do. It's like, okay, I guess we're going to have to work a little harder. You know. So anyhow, Evan says the Venn diagram of people who follow you and people who are sick of not fighting back is a circle. Pretty much. Yeah, James Pyrick said, I'm so freaking tired of giving up. I'm not giving up on this. No way. You know, I mean, the lengths that I am willing to go on this would probably alarm you. I mean, I can tell you right now that the first conversation I had with the publisher, he was definitely alarmed. But you know what? It's okay. It's going to work. We're going to figure out a way. It'd be nice if it's the obvious and easy way. You know, there is a very easy and obvious way to simply go about making this work. But conflict is in the air we breathe. Conflict is the water in which we swim. You know. Yeah, in fact, Deb Davis says, reprehensible. What is your profession? I mean, that is one of the great moments in film as far as I'm concerned. I could watch that scene like every day. Just because it just is so inspiring. And you know, the reaction that you guys have to these situations, that's how it makes me feel. You know, I mean, I was really eager to do tonight's Darkstream just because I was feeling a bit frustrated. I was just feeling a bit irked because this is so damn unnecessary. But then, you know, I thought, well, you know what? I'm just going to present this to the reprehensibles and see what they think. And you didn't disappoint me. You didn't let me down at all. And so, let's have some fun. Relentless optimism. No skulls, no scalps. Relentless positivity. Um, so anyhow, that's all I've got for tonight. Let's do the super chats before I forget. Okay, where are we here? Artensall says, if I'm unable to stay awake from the stream, I wanted to show appreciation for the fascinating mailbox on China published on BP today. Thank you. You're quite welcome. And of course, credit to the reader who wrote. I can't take any credit for that, but I definitely appreciated that. When there's stuff happening around the world, current events happening around the world, I love to get detailed emails explaining what's going on from the scene and, posting them in full. M. Bolster does his thing. Thank you. He's always like either first or second too. I don't know how he does it. Durlex Sedlex says, missive inbound, my lord. Missive received. G asks, do you think giants existed in the days of Noah? Yes. If you look at Owen, you realize that giants exist today. Cody Gatlin said, Vox, I just realized that I have an addiction that your videos help with, an addiction to brutal honesty. It's hard to find that nowadays. Thanks. It is hard to find honesty, much less brutal honesty these days. But it's hard to find the good, the beautiful, and the true. Why? Because people are trying to get in the way of it. Duralex Sedlex says, it continues to surprise me how many people get so weak-kneed about the most innocuous things. We can't make leather-bound books because some people don't like a paying customer. Exactly. Do you think Moses really parted the Red Sea? Well, I think that he was the instrument for God doing it. Yes. Who are the greatest teachers' minds in Western civilization? Aristotle and Aquinas. The Norseman Wandered says, supplies for the front line. Thanks, Vox. Thank you. And as you know, we will use them effectively. Druja Bear said, there was some uncertainty in my Castelia Deluxe email. Do I need to send another email to confirm? Go ahead. Yeah, I said go ahead. If you're not sure, go ahead. PFO Dynamite reminds people that voxday@gmail.com is the email. And Drywall Bear throws in $2. Thank you. Which do you prefer, opera music or classical music? Definitely classical, although I do like Wagner's Ring. But I'm more of a Haydn, Mozart, Dvorak, Bach listener. So that's all I've got. On that note, thanks very much. Let's have a good time. Let's be positive. Let's be optimistic. And let's make it happen. This is the Darkstream. I'm Vox Day.